This week on the Media Boss Podcast.
I think the best way to be prepared for the media field is to know as much about it, like the real sides of it, as possible. To know the people that are out there, what schemes they may try to use, and what language they'll try to use. And even at the best, even people that have been in the industry for a long time, they still get duped. And it's not even duped, it's just somebody, that you trust, because we all have to trust somebody at some point.
Yeah. Media Boss Podcast is brought to you by two of our new partners. One is Pantheon. I can't wait to tell you about them later. And brought to you by Convert and Flow. You're going to learn so much about them. But now it's time for the Media Boss Podcast. Hello, everybody. Welcome to another episode of the Media Boss Podcast. I am Dr. Barrett Matthews, and I am elated to have you with me today. We got a great show. Great guest. And I know you're saying, Barry, you say that every week. Well, it's true every week. I have great guests. I can't help it if the guests are great. Don't hate me because they're fantastic. It's just who they are. So anyway, the Media Boss Podcast, for those of you, if it's your first time, second or third time, I'm going to tell you what it's all about. What we want to do is make sure that you can reach more people by using media. Most people are doing things, I'm sorry, because they've been taught wrong. And that is to focus on one thing and just do that one thing until you're blue in the face. But guess what? If you're doing that one thing to reach people, there are other people who don't even pay attention to that one thing, and you're missing them. We don't want you to miss those people. Everybody consumes their information through one form of media or another. You need to be wherever they are so they can find you instead of you looking for them. And when you do that, you become a media boss. And we want to help you do that here on this podcast. So what we want you to do right now is make sure you're subscribed to the podcast. Make sure you're sharing this with everyone you know, and make sure you're leaving some great reviews for the Media Boss Podcast. Now, I like to start off every episode with what I call a Media Minute. Now, what's a Media Minute? A Media Minute is where I take a little time to just share with you either some news or a tip or something that can help you in becoming a media boss. And today, I want to stick with podcasting. Make sure when you are doing your podcasting, you are bringing on guests, make sure that you have done everything you can to find out that if that guest is a good fit for your podcast. There's nothing worse than getting your guest ready for your podcast, and then before the podcast or during your podcast, you find out that person is not the person you thought they were and not ready for your podcast. So make sure that you have done everything possible to make sure that person is a good fit for your podcast. And speaking of a good fit for the podcast, I have one for you today. I have none other than Ashley Durham, and she is the founder and she is the CEO of Next Generation Multimedia and Entertainment. And I know you're thinking, well, Barrett, yes, she's in media. Of course, because I said she's a perfect fit for the show. This is why I'm telling you to do these things. She's also a former model and actress. And so, yes, of course, she is beautiful, guys. So make sure you pay attention to what she's saying, her content, and not just how pretty she is. I told you I have great guests on my show, didn't I? Of course. Now, she focuses on media. So I'm talking about podcasting. I'm talking about she's worked on film. She can work on television. She has done everything to make herself a media boss. So what's next? Nothing else is next. I just need to introduce her and get her on here with you guys. So Ashley, I want to welcome you to the Media Boss Podcast. Welcome.
Barrett, thank you so much. What a great introduction. I feel like I'm just running out in, as the crowd is cheering me into a stadium.
They are.
And, I feel like you just introduced me to go run a touchdown or something. I appreciate that. That's awesome.
And see, guys, the reason she said touchdown is because she and I are both Steeler fans. We just found that out. So go Steelers. don't y'all hate on us.
I was about to say, don't get rid of us now.
Don't hate on us. We're gonna see. I always say, actually, the reason they hate on us Steelers fans is because they know no matter how good or how bad we are, we'll be back, and they know that. So we'll be there. Don't worry about us.
They know that we're a good, solid team for sure.
That's right. We'll be all right. So I want to talk to you about some media now. So Next Generation Multimedia Entertainment. Tell me about that.
Yeah, so Malabash, I started this about 2 years ago, officially got it registered about a year ago. So we've been in business for, well, I'm going to say a year. And we focus on making sure we have a great connection network for any media professional. We're basically there to support the media pros, because being in the industry, there's not a whole lot of that. There's not a whole lot of support for media professionals because a lot of them are just trying to get in. They're trying to do their craft. They run into so many different gray areas, walls, people that are in these power situations that just is very dangerous and can be kind of a really tricky situation. So we're there to help support them and give them safer avenues to get into and give them a little bit more representation. We have our own little show that we do, help to give them some, great spotlighting. And we also do we do articles on these guys. We also have a nationwide network. So we're growing every single day. You guys are always welcome to join. And we are a talents group where we're basically a directory, but we also are a hybrid kind of agency where we'll push jobs to you as we see things that will be in the area and stuff like that. So we're kind of a hybrid of both. We don't want to be an agency because we can't guarantee that you get a job, right? Because it's just there's so much supply, very little demand. So it's kind of one of those things that we're creating a space where people can network. There's forums, there's opportunities for you be able to connect with other people, which is really important in the media industry. I mean, it's all by word of mouth for the most part. And so we're creating a safe space, getting rid of a lot of the gray areas and trying to make safe places for people to network and connect and all that stuff. And we help connect casting with film production and things like that. We also help with financing and things like that with connecting investors with the film producers and all that stuff. So we're growing and growing, launching a new platform here soon for media professionals to get their films funded more consistently through some other multi-billion-dollar industries. So we're looking forward for that to be launched here this coming spring, hopefully. So yeah.
That is so cool. I have so many questions. So one thing I want to ask you is that, okay, so you're basically there as a go-between for people who are looking for work, looking for investors, looking for people to work, looking for projects. So you're the go-between for them, the conduit.
That's right. Yeah, that's right. We're like a broker. We're that multi-level platform where we got the jobs over here and we can connect the people to those if you need that, or if somebody just wants to reach out and get to you themselves, they're welcome to do that as well. So. Oh
my God, you just don't know how good friends you and I just became. No, because it's like, I run into opportunities all the time, and this is great. This is fantastic. Now, okay, I'm trying to think which area I begin in with you. First of all, let's talk about where did this come from with you? What's your background?
I love that question, and it's a good question. So it's a long story question, and I'll try to short it really quickly. But basically, I was in the modeling industry, got into a little bit of acting at that time, and went into the post-production side. Worked with Sony a little bit, and this was right before COVID hit. Of course, everything shut down then, right? But I got to experience not just independent film, but what it was like in that corporate environment as well a little bit. And, what it's like dealing with the producers, what it's like dealing with, the sound and a whole bunch of different things. And I'm not, I don't have all the experience in the world, but I've gotten to have some connections and some great people from it. And then I also got to experience some pretty dangerous experiences as well, where people that you thought you could be very trustworthy and could make it for a really long time can be extremely dangerous. I've had some major experiences that were pretty much close to near-death experiences from it. So once I got out of that, I kind of realized, you know what, I'm over I kind of over a lot of gray areas, because a lot of people, they get into the media industry and it's like, where do I go? What do I want to do? And even if you have a job description, you're like, I went to school for this, I went to school for editing, we'll say that, where do you go? Where do you apply? Who's trustworthy? Who's safe? Of course, everybody wants to go to the big studios like Marvel. You want to go to, Universal. You want to go to Disney. You want to go to all those places. But, they can't hire everybody either. So where do you go to get your experience to be good enough to work for those people eventually down the road, or, start your own company? And so you can get in with some people that seem like they're cool, but then stab me in the back later on, and everybody in the industry is probably nodding their head right now, just kind of like, yeah, it's pretty much like that. So That's why I really wanted to create Malbash, and it's a combination. The name comes from my daughter's middle name, and then her and I's first name. So that's where that comes.
That's cool. I like that.
So I'm doing this for her. I want to make the world safer for our kids, and hopefully I'll be able to do that in some way.
And one word I've noticed you've used quite a bit and talked about the media is that make safe.
Mm-hmm.
Yes. You use that word a lot. Now, and I know you've mentioned you had some near-death experience. I'm not asking you to get into that, but what kind of ways, as far as for people in the media, is it dangerous, and do you make it safe for them?
I think the best way to be prepared for the media field is to know as much about it, like the real sides of it, as possible. To know the people that are out there, what schemes they may try to use, and what language they'll try to use. And even at the best, even people that have been in the industry for a long time, they still get duped. And it's not even duped, it's just somebody, that you trust, because we all have to trust somebody at some point.
Yeah, you're right.
So I think the best thing is just be really careful about who you trust in the industry, first off. And anybody that you do, just always have this reserve. Don't give everything always until you've worked with this person for a while. And even then, you're right. You have to be careful. And I think the best thing is learning, if you're wanting to get into industry, see if you can find somebody that can mentor you in a safe way. And they can kind of show you, be like, hey, that person's just trying to lowball you at this. They're coming at you like this. This person's promising you a bunch of things. And then more than likely, most of the stuff that they have done doesn't add up to that. So it's not going to be what they're promising, blah, blah, blah.
Yeah.
So it's a lot. But I think the best thing to do is to know as much about before you get into it.
I like that. I definitely like that, because I come from a media background myself. I worked for network television. I worked for local television and network television.
You know exactly what it is.
Yeah. I tell people, and I know you are heavily, I'm going to talk about this in a minute, but I tell people I saw all the isms. I saw racism, I saw sexism, I saw nepotism. I saw all the isms, and they were all in one place. And it's not a pretty picture a lot of times. Now, you are heavy in being an advocate for women in the business. Yes.
I really believe that we need to have more, not just women, but we need to have more diversity. And I'm really thankful that Mrs. Marvel's come out. I'm thankful that the She-Hulk is out. I'm thankful that, some of these ones that are finally coming out are putting not just women into roles that they never were before. Because you were always told as a woman, you're not a top biller, so therefore you won't sell a film. And even, like the highest people out there that were women actors, they still, they were told the same thing. The guys are the ones that sell the film.
Still to this day, yes.
Exactly. So it's one of those things where I'm a very big advocate for women and diversity in the industry for sure.
That's a wonderful thing. I mean, I know that it's a tough road to hoe for a lot of women, and like I said, and all diverse and all minorities, as they call. I hate that word, minority, but it's tough for all of those people in those roles, and to fight through this big juggernaut that is the entertainment or media industry. Now, you work in film. How different is it working in film as opposed to working in other forms of media?
I think the biggest thing with the film industry is you got the independent side. You also have the distributive side. And there's so many different facets to it. There's lots of independent filmmakers out there. They want to get their films out there. And it's kind of like, where do you start? There's so many great... I think one of the biggest problems with the film industry right now is that there's so many remakes going on. And we're so afraid of getting new... not just talent out there. We need some new talent, but also some new storylines. People are so afraid because COVID hit, and film investing is dangerous. You run into a huge point where you don't get your return on not just the investment but the capital. So it's just one of those things that's like really difficult to get investors interested. And if it hasn't succeeded before, then they're really afraid even more to get it to go, farther. And then you've got the gatekeepers, a lot of the distributors distributive companies and things like that, they're not open to a new idea. So like that doesn't sell. Well, I mean, maybe they haven't put it in the way that needs to go in to be able to sell type of situation. So yeah, I think that's one of the biggest situations that.
Yeah, and that's funny. I have one of my good friends. He's a filmmaker. He's a producer. He is award-winning producer. But he talks about the same issue. I see you got some people on your set there. But he's an award-winning film producer as well. But I mean, one of the things that I tell people to do is to work on, to work on documentaries around their business. Because I tell people, if you're a business person, people want to see a different side of it. Yeah. They want to know that you actually, are a human being, are a person. So they want to see that human side of you as well. So how do you feel about that?
I really think filmmakers and people in the media need to get into multiple different avenues. You can't just survive. I know I hear people all the time when they say they get into the film industry or they get into any industry, they're going to drop their job and they're going to just do that full time. It's really a dangerous thing to do. I mean, even if you're in the best of the industry, you need to make sure that you've got a second income coming in. And I really think too, having different avenues, podcasting is a really great way to get your name out there, connecting with other people and having different ways of not just what you are doing currently, but other ways of promoting your company. And I think all kind of companies need to do this, especially in the corporate world where they're, running into one note ponies don't do so well. You need to also promote your own self. A lot of, companies are realizing that, and they're starting to realize that they need the publications, they need those podcasts, they need other avenues to get their names out there more. So I really think that it's important to have multiple avenues that, people can see you. They can see you from multiple avenues, and that you're not just relying on ads to get your name out there. They follow your show, and then they hear your name on that, and then they can keep on going and kind of learn more and more about the whole situation. So
yeah, and that's true. That is very true. Now, one of the things that I noticed that you've done, you've actually been a podcast host before as well, huh?
That is correct. I have actually 3 podcasts. So I've a couple different, I've got one that's controversial and that's kind of my own private thing. And then I do 2 other media ones. We do a film review podcast that's really fun, kind of just, we talk about what people say about films, some things that you're not going to necessarily hear. And then we also have the Spotlight show where we like to spotlight people that are in the industry, give them a little bit of a platform to talk about whatever they want to, share about their craft and stuff like that. So
that is cool. So guys, guess what? We're going to take a break here. We're going to be right back with more of Ashley Durham right here on the Media Boss Podcast. So what do I want you guys to do? I want you to stick and stay right where you are. We'll be right back with more of the Media Boss Podcast. How are you going to learn everything you need to know about starting a podcast? Well, at the Create Your Podcast Weekend, we put it all in 2 days and help you get your podcast going by next week. That's right, by next week. All you have to do is come to the Create Your Podcast Weekend and let us show you how to get your podcast up and running. We will show you how to attract listeners. We will show you how to get people to pay you for your products and services. What products and services? The products and services we show you how to create, all at the Create Your Podcast Weekend. All you have to do is go to createyourpodcastweekend.com and get registered today. And we have special bonuses. Some of you will even get us to give you the equipment to start your podcast. That's right. We're going to give some of you the podcasting equipment to get started. Go to createyourpodcastweekend.com. That's createyourpodcastweekend.com and get started on your podcast by next week. Starting a podcast can be a daunting task. There's a lot that goes into it, and you're probably wondering if you're able to handle it. Well, why don't you just take 2 days and let us teach you how to do it at the Create Your Podcast Weekend. That's right. We're going to show you all the aspects of how to start your podcast, how to keep your podcast going, how to attract listeners, and how to make money with your podcast. CreateYourPodcastWeekend.com. Get registered right now. Do you you have a podcast? Would you like to have it heard by more and more people? Well, Pantheon is the way to go. Unlock the right mindset and tactics with our program. Create momentum with repurposed content. Get paid to build your business. And with Pantheon, we'll even show you how to have a team around you that gives you a community of encouragement. Check out Pantheon today.
You and me together, we could be anything.
Hey guys, I want to tell you a little bit about Pantheon. Man, let me tell you, the Media Boss podcast is so successful right now, partly because of the work that we put in with our new partner, Pantheon. They have helped us to grow our listenership. Our downloads for our podcast have increased substantially over just the last 4 to 6 months because of our partnership with Pantheon. Let me tell you, they have made it so that we can do our work in creating great content for you guys while they help us to grow. They work tirelessly behind the scenes, making it so people are more interested in what we're putting out as far as the podcast. They put systems in place. They do training. They show us how to attract more people, and they're making it happen for us. Look, if you guys want to learn more about how to do that for yourselves or for your podcast, I suggest that you get together with the people at Pantheon. I'll set up a meeting myself with them so you can do that. Connect with me, and let's find out how you can get going with Pantheon yourself for you and your podcast. All right, everybody, welcome back to the Media Boss Podcast. We are not done with Ashley Durham. She is back right here. And look, Ashley, look, I love the fact that you got your family working around you and so forth. Because look, this is real. This is real, and I'm glad. I'm really glad. Let me tell you guys why I'm really glad about that. Because a lot of you guys won't start podcasts. You won't put yourself in the media because you're afraid of what people may think of this, or I don't have this in order. People are more attracted to you being a human being. And these are real things that go on in your life. So, and Ashley has kids, and I love it. So, and I say, kiss the babies for me. But, I do have to mention to everyone else, and I want to bring up to you, a Forbes 40 under 40 nominee. So please tell us about that experience.
Thanks so much. I really appreciate you. So I got nominated for this, and it just a nomination so far. I mean, they still have to decide whether I'm 40 under 40, but just the fact of getting nominated for it is just really a huge honor. It's just really awesome, and I really appreciate those people that did it. So I really appreciate that a lot. But I guess you get nominated for this, and then you go into a pool, and they'll reach out and interview you and things like that to see if you fit the bill. So I'm really excited about being even nominated. Just an honor.
And I'm sure most people will agree with me. You look like you should be 30 under 30.
Wow, thank you so much. You're just making my day on all levels.
I'm just saying, you look very young. I was like 40 under 40. She looked like she's 20 something. So. Well,
actually, somebody told me one time that I looked like I was 12. And I'm like, well, I don't think I look that young. So
not you. No, that's okay. Not going there.
We're not going there.
But actually, what I want to do before we wrap up, I want to give you an opportunity to share with anyone anything that you have going on or how they can get in touch with you.
Thanks so much, Barry. I really appreciate that. So, you can find us on our website. Malabash.com is the best place to find us. And then you can reach out. We've got a little bot there that you can always chat with us whenever you need to. And you can reach me at my email, ashleydurham@malabash.com. If you have any questions, if you want to get into film investing, or if you need investments, we can definitely help you out with pointing you in the right direction, or just, we'll see if we can. No promises ever, but absolutely, guys. We would love to have you, support. If you have any questions, if there's anything we could do to help, just let us know. We're definitely there to help support, connect, and all that good stuff. So you can reach out to us, website, email, whatever works out.
I love it. Ashley, I want to thank you so much for being a part of the Media Boss podcast today.
Thank you so much for having me on here. It's awesome. I really appreciate it.
No problem at all. So guys, that was Ashley Durham. And look, I want to tell you guys, she's wonderful. Make sure you all support her. And here's the thing: if you're in the media, it's a no-brainer to reach out to her because they can help you. I don't care if you're film, television, whatever. Reach out to her because she and her business can help you. Now, I have something special for you guys, especially for you brand new people. I have something to help you to get not just more clients, but more paying clients. Would you like that? I think you would. So go to www.5waystoPayingClients.com. 5waystoPayingClients.com. It's a complimentary training I put together just for you to show you how to get those clients. So what I'm going to do right now is we're going to take a quick break. We'll be right back with more of the Media Boss podcast, but we're going to show you how we get out of here. We don't exit our show the way everyone else does. We do it a little different here. So stay right where you are. We'll be right back with more of the Media Boss podcast. Let's face it, you've been talking about starting a podcast for quite some time, but you haven't started yet. Why is that? Could it be that you just don't have the time because your day-to-day keeps you so busy? Or could it be that you don't want to learn all the technical aspects that go into putting together a quality podcast? Well, at Media Boss Club, we take care of that for you. How would you like to have a done-for-you experience? That's right. At Media Boss Club, we build your podcast for you. We will edit your podcast. We will put in the music for you. We even put in commercial breaks that you can put your advertisers in. We will take care of all of the uploading to the great podcast platforms that are out there. That's right. We do everything. All you have to do is just right now go to MediaBossClub.com. That's MediaBossClub.com and let us handle the heavy lifting for you. It's time to be a boss, a media boss. If you're in business for yourself, it's time that you get your message out, and podcasting is the best way to do it. Let us create a done-for-you podcast experience with Media Boss Club. All you have to do is go to MediaBossClub.com, and we'll create a done-for-you podcast right now. That's MediaBossClub.com. Do you have a podcast? Would you like to have it heard by more and more people? Well, Pantheon is the way to go. Unlock the right mindset and tactics with our program. Create momentum with repurposed content. Get paid to build your business. And with Pantheon, we'll even show you how to have a team around you that gives you a community of encouragement. Check out Pantheon today.
You and me together, we could be anything.
Hey everybody, the Media Boss podcast has been brought to you by our partners, Pantheon and Convert and Flow. Make sure you get with us so you can find out more about how you can help your business run smoothly with Pantheon and Convert and Flow. All right, everybody, welcome back to the Media Boss podcast. I told you Ashley Durham was a great guest. I told you I always have great guests. I can't help it, guys. I can't help it. But I want to help you guys in more ways than you know. So what I want you to do is help me by supporting the podcast. So you can go to Patreon, patreon.com/Media Boss podcast. If you like what you hear, if you like what you see, support us. And we got something special for you just for supporting us. Also, I just gave away a free gift. Take advantage of it. That's www.5waystoPayingClients.com. 5waystoPayingClients.com. Hopefully you guys will take advantage of it. Now, you saw what Ashley is doing. If you really are serious about becoming a media boss, then I think you should attend my challenge. That's right. I'm doing a 5-day challenge, and I want you guys there. Go to www.makemoneyfrommediachallenge.com. MakeMoneyFromMediaChallenge.com. I don't want you guys just looking at media. I want you guys making money. I'm doing a 5-day challenge showing you what you need to do. Make sure you're there and make sure you sign up as a VIP. I got something special for my VIPs. I'm just letting you know right now. If you're interested in the podcast, if you want a podcast of your own and you're a little overwhelmed by everything, let us handle it for you at Media Boss Club. What I want you to do is text me. Text the word podcast to 929-244 4323. Text podcast to 929-244-4323. We'll show you how to have a done for you podcast. And last but not least, what I want you guys to do is make sure you subscribe to the Media Boss podcast and share and leave us a great rating and a fantastic review. And when you do that, we have something for you, a free gift for you just for leaving us a great review. So how do we get out of here in the Media Boss podcast? Those of you who know, you know. So we're going to do it right now. We're going to count down 3, 2, 1. Media Boss out.